Despite Nazi Germany's rapid invasions across Europe, Switzerland remained untouched. Why? Surrounded by Axis-controlled territory, this small nation wasn't taken over. Switzerland's commitment to neutrality, its rugged mountains, and defensive preparations played a role, but there was more. Strategic, economic, and even diplomatic factors combined to keep Hitler's forces out. In this video, we'll uncover the unique mix that kept Switzerland safe amid a world at war. Switzerland's neutrality wasn't something new. For centuries, the country had worked hard to avoid getting involved in European wars. This policy allowed Switzerland to focus on its own stability and security while staying out of the power struggles around it. By the time World War II began, Switzerland officially declared its neutrality, making it clear that it had no plans to join either side in the conflict. The Swiss government presented itself as a peaceful and non-threatening neighbor, hoping to avoid becoming a target. Both the Axis and Allied powers recognized Switzerland's neutral status during the war. This recognition was critical because it gave Switzerland some level of protection early on. Germany, in particular, had bigger priorities and saw little reason to invade a country that wasn't an immediate threat. Meanwhile, the Allies respected Switzerland's neutrality, understanding it as a long-standing tradition rather than an act of favoritism. This delicate balance of diplomacy played a key role in keeping Switzerland safe, at least initially as the war raged across Europe. One of Switzerland's most remarkable strengths during World War II was its armed militia system. Unlike many countries, Switzerland didn't rely on a large, permanent standing army. Instead, a significant portion of its male population was trained as part of the militia. These citizens were required to keep their weapons at home, ready to defend the country if needed. This system ensured that Switzerland could quickly mobilize a large and well-trained force in case of an invasion. Now let's talk about one of Switzerland's greatest advantages during World War II, their mountainous terrain. The towering Alps acted as a natural barrier, making it incredibly difficult for enemy forces to navigate through the country. Narrow mountain passes and steep valleys would have slowed down any invading army, giving the Swiss crucial time to prepare and defend. These natural defenses weren't just obstacles, they were strategic assets that made Switzerland a risky and challenging target for any potential invader. During World War II, Germany relied on Switzerland for trade and financial support. Switzerland's industries produced high-quality goods like machinery, precision tools, and chemicals, which Germany needed for its war effort. These goods were difficult for Germany to find elsewhere, making Swiss trade important to their economy. Swiss banks played a key role during the war. Known for their neutrality and discretion, they provided financial services to both Axis and Allied powers. Germany used Swiss banks to manage money and trade gold, while the Allies also benefited from Swiss banking systems. Switzerland had a bold plan in place to defend itself if invaded during World War II. This strategy, known as the scorched earth policy, aimed to destroy key resources and infrastructure to prevent them from falling into enemy hands. The Swiss forces prepared to blow up bridges, tunnels, railways, and factories if Germany invaded. By making Switzerland's resources unusable, they ensured that any occupying force would gain little benefit from the invasion. This plan was more than just a defensive measure, it was a strong warning to Germany. The Swiss made it clear that their valuable infrastructure, which was crucial for trade and transportation, could be completely destroyed. For Germany, this meant that invading Switzerland would not only be difficult but also result in significant losses. The threat of a scorched earth strategy acted as a deterrent, helping to convince Germany that invading Switzerland wasn't worth the cost. Hitler strongly disliked Switzerland because of its democratic system and independence. To him, Switzerland was the opposite of everything he wanted to create a free and self-governed nation that didn't fit into his authoritarian plans for Europe. However, despite his disdain, Hitler decided not to prioritize invading Switzerland during the war. At the time, Germany was already fighting major battles on several fronts. The Eastern Front against the Soviet Union demanded massive amounts of troops and supplies, while the Western Front required a constant focus on the Allies. With so many resources tied up, Hitler couldn't afford to launch an invasion of Switzerland, which would have been a challenging and costly operation. There has been some speculation that Germany and Switzerland might have had informal agreements during World War II. These theories suggest that Switzerland may have quietly assured Germany that it wouldn't take any actions against the Axis powers in exchange for being left alone. This could explain why Germany respected Switzerland's neutrality despite its strategic location and valuable resources. However, there is not much solid evidence to confirm these claims. Some historians believe that Switzerland also served as a neutral ground for intelligence activities. Swiss authorities may have turned a blind eye to spies from both the Axis and Allied sides operating within their borders. Switzerland's neutrality and central location made it an ideal place for covert operations and secret communications. Switzerland's ability to remain uninvaded in a war-torn Europe was remarkable. Its combination of diplomacy, strategic defense, and economic pragmatism allowed it to maintain sovereignty despite being surrounded by conflict.